So welcome to Sunday Springboard with Melanie and Kimberlyn Coaching, where we help women find their strength and flourish after major life transitions. We've been having a series on energy influencers, the factors that can help lift our energy and our enthusiasm or decrease it. So we've talked about spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and social factors. So the spiritual had to do with our non-physical things, our faith, things like that. Mental, to do with our brain. Emotional, our feelings. Physical, our bodies. Social, our friends and the society around us. Today, we're going to finish our series with a look at the environmental influencer, becoming aware of how our settings and the conditions around us affect us, and how to make this factor work for us and not against us. Just a reminder that I record all of my videos and you can access them on my website, KimberlynCoaching.com. Look on my Springboard tab and you can catch up with us and watch our other series. So the environmental factors are those that are related to the setting or the conditions around you and in which you perform. In addition to the people around you, there are tangible, physical, external elements that affect your energy. Your environment will affect your stress level, as well as how willing and enthusiastic you are to perform the tasks that allow you to implement the changes in your life. So environmental factors aren't always under your control. You can't stop the rain from falling, but you can learn to control the effect that they have on you. So in this section, we're going to explore some of these aspects, such as the conditions, the setting of surroundings, your equipment and technology, and the availability and use of technology. So each one of us responds to environmental influences differently. So we want to become self-aware about what factors in our environment influence us in a positive or negative way. And then we want to take steps to ensure that in our surroundings, we're either change whatever we need to change or learn to accept what we need to accept. Always that serenity prayer, right? So let's think about weather and other conditions. How do these affect your performance? Things like climate, weather, time of day, these are not within your control. Things like lighting, noise can possibly be altered. Even more important than the actual conditions are your beliefs about them. When you believe that conditions will negatively impact the quality of your performance, you will experience stress, which depletes your energy. Think about these factors relating to the conditions that you may find yourself in today. Let's say, or this week, your climate, your weather, what is the setting? What is the time of the day? How adequate is your lighting? Do you have distracting noise? What other personal preferences? How would you describe the ideal conditions for you? Now, right now, most of us are not in ideal conditions, right? Our whole lives have changed these past 6, 7, I don't know how many months it's getting on now. But one of the things that I have to say that this has taught me is that life doesn't have to be a certain way. I actually tend to like to get things going my way and then leave them there. And we've had everything turned topsy-turvy and we've still actually made it okay. So our settings, our environment is important, but our beliefs are often more important. What are some of the beliefs around these different things that affect you? Do you believe that you don't think it's clearly in a noisy condition? Do you think you feel better in a room with natural lighting? This is okay, but let's just become aware of what we're believing. Some of the things that we believe may be factual or not. When I say factual, I mean every single person who ever lived or will live under these conditions will be affected the same way you are. So like you say, I cannot think clearly in a noisy room. You think that that's factual, that everyone feels that way. Some people may not. Some people put their headphones on and listen to loud music. Some people need it to be quiet. What is your best condition or environment? So some beliefs may be just based on your own personal experiences. They may not be true for everyone. So when you think about the factors that are less ideal in your control to change, how might you alter them? Like we just mentioned, noise. If it's distracting, you can learn to tune it out or maybe wear earplugs. So for the factors that you can't change, how can you change your attitude? How can you make adjustments so that your energy, your enthusiasm isn't depleted? For example, if you dislike working at night, maybe simply starting your day earlier can make the difference for you. So now let's talk about our settings. You may not be able to choose or control the setting in which you find yourself, but being aware of your preferences as for the optimal setting and having a plan to handle less than optimal conditions can help you choose your energy around this situation. So here's some things to think about when you're thinking about the settings in which you live, work, play, and perform. How much clutter or free space? Are you okay with the clutter, or do you need things to be cleaned up? What about the amount of natural light? Is your area lighted, or is it too dark? Do you need to add? Do you need to take away? What about your transportation to and from the location? What about the availability and the quality of the food and drink? What about the availability and condition of restroom facilities and other amenities? What about other things? How would you describe your ideal space? If the space in which you actually work and live don't match your ideal, what things can you change? What things can you, like, say, like if food and drink is not available, you plan ahead, you bring water and a snack. What about your work? So it takes you a long time to get to work, you dislike the bus ride, and you can't do anything about that. So maybe you change your mindset so you actually look forward to the time on the bus. You find a way to make your ride more fun or more productive. So for me, I used to drive into downtown Houston, and it, depending upon the day, it could be from 30 minutes to an hour-long drive. And every time I would get in my car, I would be thinking, oh, I just hate this drive. I would be dreading it. And so I started listening to books on tape. Back then, they're on CDs. Now they're little digital files. And I picked books that were just fun, that I would just enjoy. And I started listening to books. I still call them books on tape. So instead of getting in my car and dreading it and being so unhappy, then I started, and I still do this because I still drive downtown, but not every day. But I would think, oh, what's happening now in my book? And if I'm in stop and go traffic, other people around me are anxious and let's get this show on the road. I'm just like, okay, I get to listen to a little bit more of my book. So if there are things you can do, if you can't change your setting, the things you can do to make it more enjoyable or at least more tolerable. So when we do activities, we have equipment, clothing, other gear, from the shoes, the suits you wear, to your computers, your phones, the ergonomics of your desk and chair, your performance, your well-being, how well you feel, how well you're enjoying what you're doing are impacted by this choice of gear. And your belief in how well you can complete it using this equipment and gear is influenced and makes a difference. So look at what you're wearing. Now, a lot of us working from home now, we're wearing different kind of clothing than we wore when we went into the office all the time. So when you've got when your clothing is well fitted, comfortable, weather appropriate, and state of the art, as well as your equipment being state of the art. I don't guess we have state of the art clothing, but our equipment is state of the art. It helps us perform without distraction. And also remember, we talked about in the appearance section when we looked about physical influence. Sometimes looking the part can help you feel the part. So sometimes we like to be dressed up because it makes us feel more professional. When we talk about technology is moving and changing all the time, and keeping up with it can be a job in and of itself. So one of the issues this can cause is the latest and the greatest syndrome. This occurs when you think you have to have the most recent version of anything you're using. And you have that feeling of, oh no, I don't have the best, the latest, I'm not well equipped, someone else might be better equipped. And this can lead you to spending money on things that might not be suited to you, or that aren't really going to make that big of a difference in your outcome. So I'm a computer geek, so I always like to have the best and latest technology, but I don't always have the latest. And so when it's time that I tell myself I can get a new computer, I do the research, I figure out which are the best ones for the best amount of bang for the buck, and I finally do it. I buy the computer, and at that point, I don't let myself look at any flyers, any magazines, any websites. I don't let myself look at any equipment, any computers that can be bought, because the moment you buy a computer and most technology, it's out of date. You can never stay totally up to date. So once I buy my new one, then I don't let myself look again till several years later when it's time to get a new one. So on the other hand, another belief or philosophy that can really get you stuck is that I'm never going to change it. If it works, don't change it. This works on some things, doesn't work very well with technology. Technology is constantly changing, and you will probably need to change your technology, your software, all those kind of things. So here's some questions to ask yourself if you're thinking maybe you need to buy a new piece of equipment, to see if it's necessary and if it fits you and what you need to do with it. So the first question is, when was the last time you replaced this equipment? And then what advances have been made in technology? Number 3, how do you expect how do you expect this new equipment to change or in your life or fix your life and your performances? What is it going to actually do for you? Number 4, can you try this equipment? How can you try it before you purchase it? Number 5, when you try the equipment, how does it feel to you? How does it fit you? Number 5, how well does it create the repeatable result you're looking for? Number 7, what are the return policies in case you decide it doesn't work? 8, when is the next version of the equipment scheduled to be released? You don't want to buy a new one when next month is the whole next version. Number 9, what other ways, if any, might you get the same fix? Number 10, what is the cost versus the benefit in making the decision to buy? So think about what kind of clothing and equipment right now you're actually using, even if it really doesn't allow you to perform at your best. Maybe there's some things you need to consider changing. And then what is your plan to replace or upgrade what you're currently tolerating? So like we've talked about these different things in our environment, some things we can change, some things we cannot change. And the ability to be resilient, which means adapting to change, is an important part of our life plan. Since it's generally something about we're not in control of, resilience is important in dealing with environment. Anticipating and preparing for changes in the environment is a best practice in any situation. On a practical level, you could have some printouts of your presentation as backup in case your technology doesn't work. Bring an umbrella if it might be going to rain, an extra clean shirt, give yourself an extra 30 minutes to get there. These things can help you not be so stressed and can help you be able to go with the flow and not crash and burn when things aren't going as well as it should go. When we know what kind of environment works best for us, remember, we're always just talking about becoming aware of things. And then we change the things we can and we learn to live with the things we cannot. So when we learn what works best for us, then we can look at it, see which things we can change so that we have an environment that fuels us up, inspires us, rather than drains us. And then we can create coping strategies for dealing with those environments that are less than ideal. So understanding our environment will allow us to adjust our strategic plan. Remember, we're always looking to evaluate, not judge the facts. Then we can create the experience that we desire and give ourselves the best opportunity to succeed. Remember when we talked about social influencers, we discussed 5 ways of managing a catabolic relationship. Remember, catabolic is the idea that it's something that is, my dog is drinking water. I'm so sorry. Catabolic tears you up. It's destructive. It wears you out, tires you up. I can't think because I was listening to the dog. Sorry. Okay, so we have 5 ways to deal with an environment that's less than ideal with you. So maybe you're in a catabolic environment. So 1, you remain a victim to the environment. Hopefully you remember these. These are sparking some memory in your mind. So remaining a victim is not the most effective or powerful way. So be aware of any victim responses you have so that you can hopefully make a different choice. Number 2 would be leave the environment. This can mean packing it in and going home. Depending on the circumstances, this might be a good choice. Number 3 is accept it. You say, so what, and continue on. This is not so much a resignation as it is a statement in which you declare, it is what it is. It just, and it's kind of like picking your battles, right? Number 4 would be change the environment. If you're able to, you can move to a different location, or maybe you can make a change. Like if it's raining, you put on the rain gear so that you're able to continue. Number 5 would be change your perspective of the environment. This is the most powerful choice. Kind of like I told you at the beginning, instead of letting the conditions affect your energy, choose the response you would like. You might prefer a different environment. However, you can choose to have energy even in less than optimal conditions. This will take some training and preparation. In this section, we've learned about environmental factors influencing our energy and performance. how to change them, how to change our beliefs. If you would like some help in figuring out these things in your life, consider hiring me as your coach. You can go to my KimberlynCoaching.com website, click on the About Me page, and at the bottom, on the Work With Me page, and click on the link at the bottom, and I will contact you, and we can talk about where we would want to go from here. Meanwhile, I hope I've given you some good things to think about, and I hope you have a great week, and I hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving.